This video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
You only need to know me. I will be the one.
The words "because it's you" have never had more of an impact on any story than that of the One Piece world. Red-haired Shanks, a mysterious man with a mysterious and seemingly unwarranted amount of respect placed on him, securing an audience with Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, despite the world government's disapproval, having not just a rivalry but a relationship with the world's strongest swordsman that appears to be born of mutual respect. So much so that Mihawk even refused to fight Shanks during the Marineford War, ending the Battle of Marineford, the war of the best that had shaken the very foundations of the balance of power, with a simple request to Sengoku to honor the fallen pirates that had caused so much havoc for the Marines, and Sengoku agreed. With a few words from Shanks, the war was over. And most recently strolling into Mary-Joie for an audience with the Gorosei, one that they had entertained only because it's him. Just what does Shanks do to deserve this level of respect? Who is Shanks exactly? Well, that's not what this video is about, but because it's Shanks, I think we might have an answer as to what happened to the Pirate King Gol D. Roger after he died. And also, because it's you, and I know many of you are not subscribed to this channel, you can see from my homepage that my dream isn't as complicated as finding the One Piece. On this channel, we're just here to enjoy the journey, the mystery. But my dream is to increase my bounty by surpassing 100k or 100,000 subscribers. And you can help me reach my dream by reaching over and hitting the like button on this video and the subscribe button as well. But before we continue, I want to introduce you to the sponsors of today's video. Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends has taken over and gaming will never be the same again. Raid is the first game to bring a true console level experience to your phone. Raid Shadow Legends is a game I recently started playing, and believe me when I say, it's the most fun I've had on my phone in a while. The newest addition to Raid, and my personal favorite, is legendary champion from the High Elves faction, Deliana. Deliana is one of the strongest support champions in the entire game, and can help carry your team to get past many of Raid's tougher challenges, which is why you need to go and download Raid today. She possesses some great skill sets and abilities which will be helpful for all players no matter what stage of the game you're in. And who doesn't like a cheat code or two, especially when they come in the form of a cool new character. Raid's currently running a special Deliana Chase event where you can get your hands on the amazing Deliana just by logging in. All you have to do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and July 28th, and you'll get Deliana for free. That's it. Deliana can be unlocked by all players. It doesn't matter whether you're a new player launching the game for the first time, or if you're a veteran of the title. It's pretty simple. All new players can enter promo code MYDELIANA, MyDeliana, to get your hands on everything. Get 50 experience brews to instantly get your legendary hero, Deliana, to max level 50, as well as a ton of silver. And there's a ton happening in Raid this month. They're bringing out 5 amazing looking new champions, and Raid's running a huge series of Summer Splash events, where you can get your hands on some incredible skins for everyone's favorite dwarf, Trunda. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen, you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion, Tyrell, 200k silver, 1 energy refill and 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. These rewards will be available only for the next 30 days and only for new players. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. So get started and download Raid today. Anyways, the death of the Pirate King, the moments leading up to his execution and what happened immediately after it have been on my mind for years. It would only stand to reason, given the examples I just gave, that after Roger's execution the Gorosei for whatever reason honored him, and allowed Shanks, because it's him, or someone else, to take away Roger's body. I know Randy Troy's idea from the recent Reverie on JD Legends channel offers a contradiction, that maybe the Gorosei have only recently respected Shanks, not because they wanted to, per se, or because of who he was, but because they were forced to. That maybe Shanks had threatened them with the fact that he had stolen the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or rather the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, the devil fruit of the sun god, one of the most powerful devil fruits, the most ridiculous power in the world, that the Gorosei had no idea Luffy had eaten already the sun god's devil fruit, because all the Marines in Cypher Pole ever saw from Luffy were funny stretching powers attributable to rubber. In a world full of devil fruits, it's possible the Gorosei just assumed it was some random rubber power, just like we more naive and less informed readers assumed Luffy was a rubber man all along, when really he has the power of a god. To add to Randy's idea, what if Shanks has other items, ancient powers in his possession that the world government fears? Maybe the ancient weapon Uranus, for example, if it really is that egg on Roger's ship. I know a few YouTubers have brought that up recently, a theory that has been around the community for a while. Where did that egg go? It would make sense if Shanks kept more than one thing from Roger. One heirloom, you could say. Not just the straw hat he was given as a child, but what did Roger leave behind after he died? Where is, for example, the sword, Ace, that Roger named his son after? Where is Roger's iconic pirate hat? Where is the Oro Jackson? Where are the other Roger pirates? Where did they go after disbanding? From what I read, the whereabouts and statuses of the other Roger pirates are unknown. We got a glimpse of them in a recent SBS, I think, or Vivery card, whatever it's called. There is a hint, however, that the bounties for the crew are still active, with the world government being unwilling to lift them before the members die. This hint was told to us in chapter 512 in a conversation between Kizaru and Rayleigh, who joked. Rayleigh, that is, about his own retirement. Kizaru alluding to their so-called sins as pirates, sins that would never disappear, and the Roger pirates are still being hunted down. Rayleigh, Crocus, Buggy, Shanks, etc. No wonder, since many of them had gone to the final island of Laughtail. Another option for what it is that Shanks has that allows him to hold such sway over the Marines of the world government ties into Shanks' birth, his identity. A video I know I promised you guys, but I thought of a twist that is forcing me to alter the script. But from what is out there in the community at the moment, Shanks might be the son of Rox D. Zebek, or he might be a celestial dragon. Maybe half celestial dragon, half Will of D. Either way, because it's Shanks, if he is descended from either, he would be respected for his royal position as a celestial dragon, or as the son of one of the most dangerous pirates to have ever lived. No one is allowed to touch him without facing a buster call if he's a celestial dragon, right? That seems to be the standard, the rule the celestial gods have made for themselves. Which might explain why in the anime Akainu kind of just stood there sweating from the fear of Shanks' presence, immobilized by his inability to touch this man. He was off limits? Maybe Shanks is from a senior royal family, if there is such a thing amongst the celestial dragons. And since he's now a pirate, maybe he was somewhat of a rebellious child. But if Shanks is the son of Rox D. Zebek, Shanks potentially having an ancient weapon, powerful devil fruits, forbidden knowledge like the Final Road Poneglyph or poneglyphs in general, to hold the world government at bay, like a gun to their heads. This would be akin to Zebek seeking out the taboo secrets of the world, making Zebek the taboo pirate, as we learn of this epithet in one of the Road to Laughtail volumes. And so, like father, like son of true, there are alternative reasons for why because it's you is applied to Shanks. Maybe one day I'll get that video out there. It's a cool idea. But Roger's grave, where is it? I guess I should start by asking what happened to Roger after he died. Because it's Shanks, can we assume they let him take the body away? Or did Rayleigh or someone else take the body? Maybe Garp arranged it. The funeral, that is, given his relationship with Roger. After all, he had already promised to protect Roger's lover Porcus D. Rouge while she was pregnant, and Roger's son Ace in defiance of the Marines and world government. I think an answer to what happened to Roger might have been revealed in chapter 1052. In this chapter we found ourselves in Ringo Graveyard. This was sometime after Kaido's defeat. We find out that Ashura Doji and Izo are dead. So people did die. Wano in the raid on Onigashima did come with a cost. The old saying from Luffy to Vivi Beck during Alabasta that people die in war. This isn't a child's game. And Oda had even foreshadowed Izo's death in the past when Izo first arrived in Wano, via a conversation with Kinemon about longing for a meaningful and glorious death. We see Marco again in response to Izo being buried in Wano, his homeland after a life at sail with the Whitebeard pirates. Marco says nothing beats resting in one's homeland. We know that Whitebeard was buried along with Ace on an island near Whitebeard's homeland, somewhere in the New World. And so, where was Roger buried? Did the world government show him respect, maybe as a favor to Garp or whoever, and allow Shanks to bury Roger in his own homeland? After all, Marco said nothing beats resting in one's homeland. We know that Roger was born in Lowtown and died in Lowtown. Was he executed there merely in mockery, or was it perhaps also a favor? Does Shanks visit there from time to time? This same town where Roger gave the most legendary speech to spark the new age of piracy. Would the government have punished him after his death for such actions? I would think that given Shanks had convinced Sengoku to allow him to bury Whitebeard and Ace, despite the reveal of Ace being Roger's son and despite Whitebeard giving his own legendary speech to close out another era, his own, that the One Piece was real. A defiant speech that rekindled the flames of piracy that the world government had tried to snuff out during Marineford's war. I would think that the world government was just as enraged by the actions of Whitebeard right before he died as they were with Roger. And similarly, Shanks would have wanted to honor both men, Whitebeard and Roger, and of course Ace, the son of his captain. As he said, he would not allow any more dishonor to fall upon them. They had gotten their victory on Marineford, and so too after the surrender of Roger. Don't get greedy now. What more do you need? Also notice that Shanks' request to bury Whitebeard was granted by Sengoku despite Vice Admiral Doberman wanting to show the heads of Whitebeard and Ace to the world to symbolize the Marines' victory. It's not always easy to go against your own, so why would Sengoku agree to do so? But as a reminder, Shanks was just a child during Roger's execution, not an emperor yet, so he lacked the title or presence alone to effect such a threat against the world. The Marines in particular, the willingness to fight them all the Marines on Marineford, if they dared to lay a hand on anyone else, if they still wanted to fight. I doubt Shanks was capable of that decades ago, but because it's him, maybe. There was another reason they'd let him bury Roger, I guess. I'd also like to draw upon the funeral that was held for Whitebeard and Ace. I mentioned Roger's personal possessions earlier, his pirate hat, his sword, that his son Ace was named after, and more perhaps. Just as Whitebeard and Ace's items are adorning their graves, their tombstones as markers, along with the Whitebeard pirates' Jolly Roger. I'd imagine this is how Roger's grave would look, his own Jolly Roger flying proud. I also think in terms of figuring out where Roger is, it's worth noting that while Marco said nothing beats being buried in your homeland, being laid to rest besides family is even better. That is the true intent of Marco's words, and so Ace, as the adopted son of Whitebeard, was buried with Whitebeard, not wherever he, Ace, was actually from. Likewise, would Roger be buried near Logtown, or would he be laid to rest with Porcus de Rouge or somewhere else? And so would Roger have been buried at the island where Rouge was living at, the island where she died, on Bateria in South Blue, an island Roger had been to and likely stayed on for some time? If Shanks died, would he be buried with Roger or taken back to Fuchsia Village to be buried with Makino, who he theorized to be the mother of his supposed child? Of course, that's if there is a body to ultimately retrieve if he died. And so a situation kind of like his Captain Roger all over again. I also think, as some have theorized, and I think O'Hara even made a video on this, that this might tie into Sabo and Luffy somehow. From what I'm seeing, the Wano funeral could be the perfect catalyst for Marco the Phoenix to finally speak to Luffy on a personal level about his brother Ace, giving him some much needed closure, and putting the Ace storyline to rest, maybe. Although I'm sure there are some things we still have to learn, such as why Roger named his son after his sword, and the theories about Shanks looking for Ace, because maybe Ace was supposed to be Joy Boy. But Marco might bring up the resting place of Ace and Whitebeard and offer to take Luffy and the Straw Hats there. I'd imagine Marco wants to return to Whitebeard's homeland now. After all, he had told Nekomamushi that he was guarding Whitebeard's home for him, protecting the village Whitebeard grew up around, because of the possibility that Weevil would attack the island. The fact that Marco still came to Wano after telling Nekomamushi to pass on a message to Luffy that he would still come to Wano, only late, makes me wonder if Marco did anything else in the time that passed. Did he recruit other Whitebeard pirates to guard Whitebeard's homeland while he was gone? Marco is the one that told Nekomamushi where to find Izo after all, so he seems to know where the other Whitebeard pirates are too. And just like Shanks might know where the other Roger pirates are. If Marco brings Luffy to the resting place of Whitebeard and Ace, will the other Whitebeard pirates be there? As an alternative, Sabo's status is unknown, and I recently dropped a video on what he might have done at the Reverie if you want to check that out. Link on the screen. But if Sabo somehow showed up, he is also someone that could take Luffy to where Ace was buried. Another thing about an attack by Weevil is his so-called mother, Miss Bakken. was on the same ship as Whitebeard approximately 40 years ago, considering that Whitebeard was part of the Rocks Pirates until 38 years ago. Miss Bakken was probably a part of the Rocks Pirates, and the former Rocks Pirate member Big Mom and Kaido have just been defeated. It wouldn't be surprising to see Oda address the rest of the former Rocks members in the coming arc or arcs with Weevil's alleged mother Miss Bakken, and who knows, maybe Shiki makes an appearance, aside from the other Rocks Pirates whose whereabouts are unknown. Speaking of Kaido, something he said ties into this video and potentially hints at Roger's status. Kaido said about Luffy after Luffy suffered another defeat and was falling motionless, eyes white from Onigashima. If they are not shown proof, if they don't see a body, their faith in you will never die. It's not like Rocks D. Zebek and an island disappeared, although we haven't seen a body for Zebek either. It's not like Kaido or Big Mom being boiled alive in magma, although they're probably not dead either, who knows. We haven't seen a body yet. Whitebeard went through a lot and he still has a body whose proud back was not blemished by a single coward's injury. So what about Roger? Where's his body? We readers saw him executed, but we didn't see what happened right after. We saw a body get stabbed and a smile overtake Roger's face, the classic mark of the will of D that defines those who died fearlessly. It would be a disservice to this moment for Roger to still be alive, especially after the reaction of the audience, the tearful faces of Buggy and Shanks, the celebratory mood as the journey of piracy continued, and the tears of Rayleigh when he reflects back on his time with Roger even. After the crew disbanded, maybe the Roger Pirates came together one last time for a funeral. The funeral for Whitebeard, after all, had a similar conclusion. All of the Whitebeard Pirates gathered there, along with the red-haired pirates on their ship paying their respects. The funeral for Whitebeard alludes further to Shanks' sentiments, on death in particular. The immense loss of his captain Roger surely had a toll on him as a child. To honor Whitebeard, despite him being an enemy, because he was a man worthy of respect. Sengoku and Shanks' words understanding that as well, that even though you might clash swords with a person, it doesn't mean you should disregard their humanity. I think the same applies to Roger after he died. Respect this great man, so bold to laugh at the world and us, but still respect him. And the fact that Shanks is thinking about Roger at the funeral for Whitebeard and Ace as he thinks of what Luffy must be going through, that suggests to me that Shanks knows what happened to Roger, or at the very least, where his body lies. But there are two final options about the whereabouts of Roger. One may be tying into the because it's you, Shanks theme we've discussed. And so Kaido talks about faith and others dying only if a body is seen. We need proof. And yet, Roger famously told Rayleigh that he wasn't going to die. Some people have taken this to mean Roger lives on. Either his will has been inherited, of course, or he's actually still alive in some way. That he didn't die that day. Not really. Not some last-minute Houdini magic trick, but instead Roger's soul lives on somehow. Maybe that's a form of magic in itself, actually. Odin had also said he would die and that his soul would also live on. But as a story, and so, Roger's final words in a way exemplify his lingering will, the endurance of his own story, embers of his life inherited by others as a flickering flame in this new age of piracy that he sparked. But a theory that is out there concerns conquerors' hockey, that the most advanced conquerors can defy the world in ways we have never seen before. In one of the earliest videos on this channel I talk about this to a degree, that the strongest conquerors can defy and bend nature to their wills, as well as master life and death. It's always been my belief that Roger endured his illness, not just with medicine from Crocus, but because of his strong, conquering will. The same way maybe that Whitebeard extended his own life on Marineford, until his task was done. If possible, could Roger not only affect just his life, the world of the living, with his conquering spirit, but also affect his own death? And so yes, Houdini in a way, lingering on in this world to fulfill his wish to have been born again in Joy Boy's era, the era of Monkey D. Luffy. And as some suspect, Luffy will meet Roger on the final island of Laugh Tale, before Roger is finally laid to rest for good. Roger, after all, is like Luffy, and would only die in a time and manner of his own choosing, on an executioner's stand, laughing in a blaze of glory, or only after he had met the man that would inherit his will. Not even death, not even the Grim Reaper, can take Roger's life away. Of course, that's all fun speculation. Now, the final idea is that the Gorosei did not allow the Roger Pirates or Shanks and Buggy or anyone else to bury Roger. Roger's body was instead taken to Mirjawa, along with all the prior persons who once wore the straw hat. At least, this is how the theory goes. The large straw hat Imu visited in one of the vaults in what seems like a very cold, almost cryogenic chamber, intended for anti-aging purposes, preservation, kind of like a museum, or in this case a crypt for the dead. Joe 3 Skull Theories on Twitter even commented on this idea a year ago. He points out how when Imu enters the mysterious vault in Mirjawa, there seems to be 7 countable vaults. Imu enters the 3rd one. Curiously, the Void Century ended 800 years ago. Is it possible there is one vault for each century? One wearer of the straw hat, and so one Joy Boy candidate. But only one, Monkey D. Luffy, was worthy or has been worthy to become Joy Boy. The actual Joy Boy again. The return of the sun god Nika, by eating the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or Nika's Devil Fruit. If so, which vault would house Roger? Or are there others with different sized straw hats there, and so Roger's straw hat is missing because his line of succession has successfully been passed down? That light has yet to be cleansed. And so it would still stand that we don't know where Roger's body is. Where could it be? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But as usual, we will have to wait and see. And don't forget to like the video, comment with your thoughts below, share this with your friends, and subscribe. Also click the notification bell. And if you have a Twitter, feel free to give me a follow on there as well. I know a lot of you guys have Twitter and you're not following me, and I like to converse with all of you when I have time, and Twitter is the way to do so. As always, there's more to come. Until next time.